Hello everyone and welcome back to Addo's Playtime. Today we're jumping back into Oxygen Not Included, where in the last episode we tried to make sleet wheat very unsuccessfully. And I gave this a lot of thought in the background, and I was thinking, like, how can I make this better? How can I do this better? How can I get this cold enough? Oh, the whole song and dance that we do. And I really didn't know what else to do. I know that we need a better cooling solution for our oxygen here, which we can do pretty easily because it is putting out a lot of heat. We have these temperature shift plates here now, so it really is eating up the majority of the chill that's in this area. So I got to thinking, I remember there being a time in our geothermal power where we had a piece of glass just suddenly appear here, and that was because the polluted dirt that we originally put in turned into sand, and then it turned into glass because we went past its melting point. And then I had a memory. I remember when I first played this game a very long time ago that I kept having dirt tiles just pop up everywhere, and I couldn't figure out what exactly was causing those dirt tiles. Well, my base was slowly dying to heat, and all of the algae that I was using to oxygenate my base was basically turning to dirt. And then I realized, what if I can make it happen on purpose? So I had an idea. Welcome back to our debug map. Now, here is where we tested out our geothermal power, where we got our refrigerator deep freeze thing going, and paid no attention to that person behind the curtain there. But this is where I have come up with how I believe that we're going to do dirt tiles. As I was editing the last video, I realized what I could do. I could actually purposefully do the thing that I did by accident. Yeah, so if you don't mind my bit of debug here, the idea is this. I'm giving ourselves kind of a somewhat real-world scenario here. We would have our ladder segment set up like so. It would kind of look like this. We would just drop everything down one floor and put the algae right here. So then we would get rid of these, sweep up the mess that it left behind, and we would have 1,000 kilograms of algae sitting here on the floor. So then I would have the dupes button up this space, and as this thing has petroleum in it, it can withstand that amazing amount of heat. So what we will do is we will queue up about 7 passes of refining steel through this to get that petroleum through. Now we'll go ahead and let Ren in here, and we'll let him get in here. Now he has quite the skills at operating. As you can see, I'm just kidding. We're in debug mode. He is running at 1,000,000 miles an hour. But this is going to pass that liquid through here and start transferring that 300 degrees of temperature through this and raising the temperature of this algae. Now, it'll take some time in real game scenario, but I'm willing to be patient just to get this algae to do its thing. We can move this thing around and keep it going wherever we need to go, and we can just keep plugging away at it, making humongous passes. So now that he's back at it, he's going to continue to raise the temperature of these tiles, which means it's going to raise the temperature of this algae. And you might say, hey Addo, why don't you put a temperature shift plate there? Well, I did that originally in the first test that I did with this, but I had an entombed tile, basically. That diamond shift plate gets lost and you lose that diamond or whatever else material you make it out of. But I also had some that are just laying on the tiles like they currently are, and it worked just the same. It took a little bit longer, but you know what? I'm willing to pay the piper just so that I don't have to, lose some diamond. So what we'll do is we'll watch this one here, and I'll pop back in when this pops its tile. And at that magical 128 degrees, it pops. And 3 dirt tiles, 1,000 kilograms apiece, are back in our base. Oh, yeah, this will work. Now, like I said, it takes a whole heck of a lot of patience, but honestly, if I remember correctly, I'd have to look back. It only took a few cycles, like maybe 5 to get 3 done, and we can just keep going. Now, the great thing about dirt is I can continue to run this pipe through there if I needed to, let's say, heat this guy up some more, which I do. I mean, I can just take this, bridge it on there, cut this sucker off, and now this one's not going to get any more heat. And as soon as I get rid of this metal tile from the bottom, it's not going to be a problem anymore. So I could run another set of steel through this. There we go. It's already turned into dirt. The other great thing about it is dirt doesn't turn into anything else until 300 degrees. So honestly, I could keep it going. Just got to watch out for that 300 degree mark. Not a big deal. I'll be keeping an eye on this like a mom does on her brand new baby. Easy peasy. So the idea being pretty simple, that just given enough time and a heck of a lot of patience, as long as this tile doesn't go below the 100 and I think it was about 130, it stops really transferring the heat. So it transfers its heat up to about 130. Now, who cares how hot this place is in here? Yeah, it's 200 and something degrees. I don't care. I'll vacuum it out. Or just cool it off with the cooling loop. We plan on cooling a lot of this off anyway, or regulating its temperature, because there are going to be a few things that we grow that are going to need a very specific temperature. Not just the sleet wheat, but other things as well, like pinch of pepper nuts and balm lilies and all those other things. If I decide to go through all of the farming, which sounds kind of fun, we'll have temperature regulated rooms. And as long as we have the patience, they'll keep popping. So this is the plan. This is what I kind of want to do. I'm pretty sure it's not going to work out perfectly. I mean, our kitchen didn't work out the same way, but I have a big place to put this in mind, and I think it's going to work. We have 50 tons of algae, give or take. I can't remember exactly, but I mean, it's going to work. It's totally going to work. And I'm excited to get it done. I really, really think it's going to work. And I have a beautiful place in store to make this giant farm that we're about to produce. As far as space goes in our base, we have our water tank here that is rising, and it'll continue to rise. We already kind of have a makeshift farm here, but this isn't a very good place for the size of farm that I want. I can't really do it down here by the hot rocks, but oh my goodness, look at all that space. I think we put a giant farm right here. It will take quite a bit of effort and a whole heck of a lot of planning, but I'm pretty sure that we can pull it off. So let me get this sucker designed up just like we had it in our test map, and I will be right back. So this is the final plan. The reason I have chosen this location is twofold, really. Number one, it's enough space to do this massive of a build. I'm gonna plant a lot. 39 tiles worth of space, 21 different dirt tiles to plant whatever it is that we decide. And if I want to combine 2 floors, just put some mesh tiles here and we can share all that, whatever we want. If we want 2 floors of sleet wheat, then we can have it. If we want 1 floor of bristle blossoms, there they are. Mealwoods? Okay, why not? Balm lilies? Bog buckets? Grub frub? Rub? Whatever they are. We can have whatever we want in this farm, and it can be expandable to a point. The neural vacillator is sort of in the way, but we can go down as we need to, and we'll plant just like we're supposed to from the top to the bottom. If I want to do pinch of peppers, I can do pinch of peppers. They would just have to probably be down one more tile. If I did decide to do pinch of peppers, they would probably be on their own floor, kind of right here. That is the plan. I can put enough space in there to let this be like, this would be where we would hang them from, and they would all drop down here. And I could easily make a bunch of dirt tiles right here, and this could just be a thoroughfare floor. We do need to have access to this at some point, but this is what I'm thinking. This is going to be it. Now, we'll have to do some shenanigans with the tiles here, just because a refinery does not quite set pretty right there. And to be honest, I don't really think we need these tiles insulated here, but they're there for now, just so that the dupes have something to walk on and things of that nature. So let's let them get at this. We have some power over here that's going to come across and be into these two large power transformers, just because I know I'll probably need 4,000 watts of something. The other reason that I chose this place was because this is our petroleum going up. So siphoning off a little bit to go into the refinery, not a big deal. And if I want to just put the refinery here and just segment all of these and turn them on one at a time and let it rock, great. I also plan on putting oxygen in here. I'll probably just shoot a pipe across here and put 2,000 kilos of oxygen in this area and just let it be. There's only a couple of plants that require a little bit of different material in the air. If we want to move our water weeds down here, we could, and we would just put their atmosphere where they want it. This is going to work. I've never been so confident in all of my life in a project that I'm about to do in oxygen not included. Now, this does mean we're going to have to put a pause on a lot of other things that we've been doing, especially because, you know, he has over 1,000 data resource in here. There is 1,059. The problem here is we're probably going to have to land pretty soon. It's getting a bit warm. Not that I care too much, because this won't go off. He's going to be fine. This will keep soaking up some of that heat, and he'll be using that. He's got plenty of food. 200,000 cycles worth of food. He could stay up here indefinitely, but we don't need too many more of these data banks. We need him back down on our planet doing that research, getting us completed on that side. But honestly, it's going to work. I know it's going to work. It's got to work. So let's let him get at it. We'll unpause the game, put it on max speed, and let it rip. And there it is. With that last tile, we are complete. And you might look at this and say, but Addo, you're off of a tile. It should be down one. You would be correct. And I realized that after I was building this. Well, that's just the way the cookie crumbles, and we're committed. I'm not changing anything. Okay, so we have our power here, and we have most of our pipe of radiant pipe already laid out in here. We'll probably start just by doing a loop all the way around of igneous insulated piping, and then we will have our refinery. I think I've decided is just going to be here, and we're just going to slowly cook all of this. So let's set a priority 7 sweep command throughout this entire thing and see if we can't get this swept up in a hurry. And then we'll also need probably a cooling loop later. So my plan is to probably right here do a double aqua tuner steam turbine setup right there. I'm never going to use this chlorine gas vent, so we can just, butt it right up against it and have it right here in this space. So once we get all the dirt tiles and everything, now as well, it's right next to our kitchen. I don't know. I may kind of extend this out and just to make this now a part of our base as well. It would kind of I would like to have this corridor through here, just because I like having 2 spaces on either side of the base. I'm probably just going to have auto sweepers up here, and I'm going to let things naturally go through their harvest cycle and then drop their stuff I think it's usually 3 cycles after it's fully grown. And we'll enclose this and it'll just be totally self-operating. I never have to go in here for anything. Not even if something spoils. If it's going to get swept up and it's going to be put in here, and we'll have our auto sweepers and all that stuff doing all the work. So there's no reason for us to really care about it that much. All right. So the next phase of this is going to be to get the 1 kilo of algae through every little spot right here. And there's a plan for that as well. So the plan is pretty simple, actually. It's just to take one of these storage bins, set it to 1,000 kilograms, have it get the organic algae in it, and put it as a priority 9. And then copy those settings. Well, we'll just do these 2 first. Now, I thought I had more, but I have 57 tons of algae, and as this is taking 1,000 kilograms, well, you could do the math. We may not have enough to populate this entire thing currently, but I think within time, it should be just fine to have this turn into what we needed to turn into. Another thing I thought about, like, I was just going to bring the refinery through each level at a time, but it seems like a lot of work and I don't really want to do it. So what we're probably going to do is just take the metal refinery and slap that sucker right there. Since our power is here currently, we'll just bring that power over into that and done. And then we'll run a loop that goes all the way around. And what we'll do is we'll do the bottom ones first, as it probably will take the longest. And then we'll just go through every little piece. So anyways, go ahead and copy the rest of the settings all the way across, because, you know, my math is terrible and I thought I wouldn't have enough, but there we go. And yeah, so we're going to get all that in there. And then the next thing we're going to do is just, as soon as they're all full up, we'll check them off, and that's that. So we'll see what happens. We'll let the dupes do their thing. And of course, that we'll have to make sure that they don't sweep all this up or anything. But yeah, this is pretty much the plan. I'll destroy all this stuff, go through and sweep up the sandstone, I think is what we made these out of. And then it'll be ready to rock. We'll button it up and let it do its thing. Now, cooling this sucker off is going to be tough, like once we're done. I'm probably ought to build the cooling loop over here and get that petroleum into that cooling loop to go through all this and cool it off when we're done. But that's something I can do on the side. We've built several cooling loops since we've done this playthrough. I don't think it's going to be too big a deal. The only reason I want to make a little bit of a cooling loop is just to cool off this atmosphere so that our dupes aren't having such a hard time in here. And we open it up and we just completely obliterate the base that's here. I mean, this is the coldest spot on the map now, and I really don't want to destroy it. It's the last bit of actual cool, other than kind of here, that we have. I still want to get rid of these, and I also know why this is having such a hard time and being so hot. It's this joint plate. I'm going to run this sucker through and bring it in the side here in a second. I'll do that off camera and show the result of it. But this is what it is that's causing all of this heat to be up in this area. It took me forever to figure that out, to be honest with you. Anyways, this is our focus for today. I'll let them go ahead and get this done, and I'll pop back in when this is complete and we're ready to start heating this sucker up. Well, as we were waiting for that to happen, as you can see, we might have had a little breach. Whoops. Probably should have put airflow tiles in there a lot sooner. Yeah, that's kind of making a bit of a mess. Oh boy. Yeah. Luckily, it's going to pool up right here and we can just pump it back out, but oh gosh, what a disaster. Okay, so here we go. We have everything kind of in place. I've gone through and destroyed the storage bins and kind of did what I did. Now, I had to do an algae distillery to get that last bit of algae here all solidified and made into algae. So we took some slime, made it into algae. That's how it works. Okay, so we have all of our power. We have all of our pipes kind of in place. And I think that I just kind of overdid it a bit. Par for the course for Addo's playtime. And I think I'll probably save these right here for probably the pinch of peppers and some other hanging things that we need to. So we can actually, when we get some more algae, we'll put it up another tile higher maybe, or a tile lower. We might have to do a tile lower. This will actually, the neural vacillator will be in the way, so we may have to figure out something right here. Maybe we just won't plant any dirt there. I don't know. But anyways, we are ready to fill our pipe, our refinery here, and all we have to do for that is just pull over a little fuel. So it'll fill this thing up and everything will be topped off and ready to rock. At the same time, we just need to start connecting all of these loops. We'll just connect everything up, we'll cancel everything out, and it will be ready to start refining. Now, one thing I did notice as I was building this is that I actually am out of gold. Not really gold, but gold amalgam. So gold amalgam is at 6.7 tons. I don't know. It kept telling me I was out of it, but I did replace a bunch of things in the base that was gold amalgam, and I decided that, you know, that would be just fine. Okay, so our gas pressure here is pretty low, but we're just gonna button this sucker up and call it good. It will be incredibly hot in here, and I'm kind of debating whether or not to kind of make our cooling loop through here. I don't really need to right yet. And also, we can actually just use this loop as a whole to make our cooling loop later. Actually, that's a really good idea that I can't believe I didn't think of to begin with. All right, so the refinery is topped off. Let's get rid of this bridge. It'll take a long time for this to actually do anything. So I'm going to start with just a couple batches of steel. We're going to make this a priority 9, maybe like 5 batches. Yeah, let's do 5 batches of steel. That should be plenty of steel to get us started. So let's go ahead too, and we'll button these up. That way we're not leaking out any heat out of these pipes. And yeah, we'll let them start the process of turning this algae into petroleum, or into petroleum, into dirt, so that we can do some wild planting. So I think they just passed their first batch. It's coming out relatively cool, 155, but it should heat these tiles up very quickly. We're sitting at a nice cool 45.9. And as this passes through, it's going to be at 130. So this is like the minimum temperature for this. So yeah, I'm going to heat the tiles up really quick. The algae is going to go up very slowly. It will transfer the heat out here before it does anything else. And looking at our heat overlay, yeah, it's gonna really heat this whole entire area up. But like I said, we have a plan to cool everything down, so I'm not too worried about it at this particular junction of everything. So yeah, these insulated tiles are definitely going to be transferring some heat. Some of these probably are something else. So in the background, as I was waiting on these to get done, I went ahead and started to prepare our regolith gathering area up here. So just a real simple cooling loop. I use the conduction panels here to keep these guys nice and cool, so that anytime that everything's going on, a pretty standard space scanner setup that can detect the meteor showers. Yeah, the quality is not great, but it's okay. Everything is powered. Now, I do have a bit of an issue with overpower here. There's really nothing I could probably put in another transformer into this box, or I could do another one somewhere else with a conduction panel like I have over here. I'm not 100% sure on the conduction panels. I mean, it seems to be working really well, but yeah. We also may have to hook up the power here, because for some reason, unless I tell it to sweep, it doesn't do anything about transferring that over, but we do have quite a bit of it loaded up here, and we just need to get that rail over here to make our starvation ranch going. And there's that delectable that I've been waiting. We are going to attack with ultimate prejudice on that sucker. We do not want a delectable in here at all. They don't drop as much meat, and they're just not useful. The tonic root that you get from them, meh, not worth it. So it looks as though our, what in the world? We've got meat right there. You want to sweep it, sir? Sweep that meat, Mr. Auto Sweeper. Okay, I mean, I guess a dupe can do it. What is going on here? Anywho, so we will probably put our starvation ranch just right here. Now, there are quite a few designs that I have seen with starvation ranches, and it's all good and well, but I don't know. Like, I've never done it, to be honest with you. I know that if you keep the shovels like hungry just long enough and feed them very little, they won't vomit up back the regolith that you're feeding them, and you can feed them very, very little to keep them going and keep your starvation ranch going as well. So that's kind of the plan. I'm going to work out a few little minor details on it, and I'll pop back in when something interesting happens, either up here or if we start popping them tiles. So this is the kind of starvation ranching that I have seen in the past, and I really like this design. It is a very simple but very effective design as far as I have kind of witnessed myself. So basically what we have here is the regolith will come in and go into this conveyor receptacle, and the critter feeder being here. Now the loader will automatically load that, of course, but you set this critter feeder to 2 kilograms every 10 cycles before the volve actually ends up dying. And so you barely feed it just enough to keep it alive. So we'll start with 1 to make sure that I understand this concept really well, because again, I've never done this before. I've only seen it done, and it looks fairly simple. But we will also need to have a grooming station over here, and we'll probably have to do a bit of redesign on this side just to make sure that everything is in its place. But any eggs that happen to be in here will automatically get thrown over into this receptacle as well, and this will be just set for the eggs. Now, if it's a delectable, the good thing about this is you'll get the variant of a delectable every so often, and this design does not allow, or gives you enough eggs to keep the population steady. So, and you can do like 10 of these ranches on 2 kilos, and it's not a big deal. Now, we don't have a lot of regolith coming in, and I did kind of chop away at the map a bit here just to kind of see about making sure that we have enough regolith to start, really. But I just kind of wanted to make sure that we had plenty. It looks like we got a lot. Now, the regolith will be used as a filtration medium if we run out of sand, unfortunately. So I have been kind of keeping an eye on this stuff down here to see about the temperature and making sure that the regolith, you can't, unfortunately, I wish there was a way that you could select this to only use sand or only use whatever filtration medium you want. But I guess that's just not something that's in the game. So what we'll do is we will set this to a maximum of 1 critter for now, and we will wrangle one of our shovels, and we'll try to pick one that's got somewhat of a young age, like not 1, because we want to definitely test this out. 18. That sounds great. So we will do that. We'll put this, we'll see, this one is at a priority of 9. So we will go ahead and put this at 5, and we'll put you at 7 so that we make sure it gets there. All right. So we'll, as soon as he gets over there, we will also need to have this receptacle doing multiple different jobs, and we may have to put like a filter in it to kind of make that happen. That could be something that we do in the future. Actually, I don't think we need to, because this actually goes to meat. So I can sweep everything into here. This conveyor can put it into there. The meat can go down and we'll be good. Because the shovels don't actually eat the meat. They only want the regolith. And we have plenty to play around with, we'll say, for now. So hopefully we'll get this guy wrangled in a hurry. For some reason, anyways, we'll set this up. I'll kind of play around with it a little bit and see and get the rails across here so that we have our regolith coming in here. So we'll kind of have to play around with this again. Like I said, never done it before, but you guys wanted to see me try difficult things, so I'm gonna give it a whirl. Our algae is already up to 120. We're running a little bit more of the iron through this real quick, and I'm hoping that within the next cycle and a half, maybe 2 cycles, we will have our dirt tiles again. And bingo, here we go. Dirt tiles, folks. Oh yeah, totally worth it. All right, so it's probably going to take a few more passes of nice hot petroleum through this to get this to go up any higher. It seems as though we're holding at this temperature. So let's cue it up, baby. We'll put about 6 of them in there for now. We're doing iron because it goes up to 200-ish degrees. And the reason when I started at the bottom is because as we move up, it's going to be a lot easier. Now, I did forget to put the bypasses in. I'm probably going to break into these walls and put bypasses in probably here and maybe here so that I can shorten the loops a little bit. It'll be actually a little difficult here to bypass, and we may have to run a whole line here, but everything else should be pretty easy. But yeah, so this is gonna work. This is gonna work. Totally worked in game. Something I created in my sandbox mode totally worked in game. I can't believe it. Is this an Ados playtime playthrough? That can't be right. Something's wrong. Oh my gosh, it's real. It's real is what it is. And with that last tile, oh man, our very first layer is completely done. Oh, what a project. Oh gosh, this is far more than what I expected it to be, to be honest with you. But it's okay. Like, this is, in the long run, it's totally going to be worth it. All right, so now we're just going to connect the next level. We're going to disconnect this and do it again. Now, we do have bypasses put in this time, so hopefully I'll be able to get this a little faster. Plus, as the return is much closer this time to the metal refinery, it shouldn't take as many cycles and it shouldn't take as many passes through here. So my hope is that we can get it done in a timely fashion. But let's go check in on our ranched shovel. All right, so his calorie count is now here. Unfortunately, the critter feeder is completely full. It's full to its capacity. I didn't expect it to feed him so soon, but his calorie count is staying high. I'll keep an eye on this to see exactly what this needs to be set at. So if his calories start to get too low, I will reset to get it. But it did fill this up all the way, which is what I wanted to see, to the two. Oh, they're filling it up. This is at the lowest of priorities too. I do not want the dupes to do this. I wish there was a way to stop that. So if we set this with only Hatch Whisperer and the other guy, what was his name? Beastman, to only have access to this, set it at a very low priority in the grooming stations up here. We'll make these a little bit higher. That seems like a good idea. Then it looks like we should be able to not have to deal with him vomiting back up that regolith. All right, let's choose our next victim. We have a beautiful candidate here with a age of 6, and we will put him in this one and get him going on that as well. All right, so I just need to finish off this last little piece up here. We'll make that a high priority, and hopefully that'll make everything kind of the same. All right. I need to sweep up that ore. Yep, sorry. I'm getting distracted. Seems like we've got steam finally up here, so our cooling loop seems to be working. The steam is not quite hot enough yet, but it'll get there eventually. I think I'm gonna have to power these. I'm not understanding why it is exactly that these are not. If I tell it to sweep this regolith, it will pull it over. It's the weirdest thing. It does it like once and then it's done. I don't understand why that is. If you know, leave a comment down below, because I'm not understanding exactly why this is not. Is there a limit to something that I just don't know? I don't know. Anyways, so here we go. He is eating his regolith. He is getting groomed. And we should get another tamed shovel, meaning that we will get a lot of eggs in here. So, oh yeah, I needed to connect that up to there, and that'll be the end of that. Okay, man, if this works out, it will solve our calorie issues long term, which is something that we need to figure out, because we want to be able to do the frost burgers or surf and turf or something. That is the goal, is to have that particular food and get off of ranches so much, because we've been ranching for quite some time, and if we can have this and then get ourselves some space back in the base, that would be really nice, because I would really like to add some more rooms for some morale bonus. But yeah, I mean, I would like to condense the base. Maybe, I mean, it would seem a little aggressive, but maybe even move the kitchen over here to where it's closer to the drowning chamber, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, anyways, let's see where we're at here. The tiles are heating up nicely. Algae seems to be going well. The loop is shorter, so we'll be getting more done per cycle. And I'm just going to let that keep going. Just keep an eye on it. So this is, I've started off our cooling loop that we're going to be using to cool a lot of this down. And then we're probably going to also regulate the temperature on a couple of these. I have some kind of ideas on some automated valves. If things get too cold or too hot, that sort of thing, we can kind of temperature regulate from there. But I'm just going to fill this up with some polluted water, and it should be good to go. I don't know if I don't actually, probably, now that I'm thinking about it, petroleum would be better because it has a better freezing point. So we'll go ahead and do that, copy the settings over here, and we'll get some petroleum circling out on this to get some nice and frosty temperatures. There it is, the very last tile of our dirt expedition. All right. This was quite the project. I don't really know if this is worth it, but you know what? Yeah, it's totally worth it. Now, in the background, what I did is I went ahead and connected our pipes to start cooling off this other piece, because it is going to take forever for this to ever get cooled off. I want to get it to a reasonable temperature before we pop in here and try to do anything. So I'm definitely gonna let this thing cook off in the background. I'm probably taking on a little too much at a time. What I might do is just save this last little bit up here for the very end. Now, as we'll probably make our cooling loop go the opposite direction, this will be the coldest of the rooms, which will probably be our sleet wheat there. Probably, I don't know, another wild plant here, another wild plant there, so on and so forth. Whew. Yeah, so a few little things to talk about as we were doing this one little thing. There was an issue up here with our thermoregulator. It overheated, and I had to jump up here because I had forgotten to connect the power cable to this, and this steam turbine never kicked on, and now it's flooded because I put some temp shift plates made out of ice, and yeah, it was a whole thing. It was amazing. But now we're back to normal. Our water is cold as ice again. I did have to run some piping around here, and I will fill this loop up so that it doesn't have this big gap in it anymore. But yeah, it was a real thing. It really happened, and I was like, oh no, but I caught it in time. Everything is still in deep freeze. The tiles didn't get below, I think, 17 or 18. Like, it has to be 18 to be a deep freeze. But yeah, so I'm gonna come in here and try to mop this up, but nah, it's too much. So we might as well just get rid of it that way and be done with it. But yeah, it was a thing. It was a real thing. It got so hot on the steam turbine, it would not cool off anymore, and then it was not eating the steam. I couldn't turn this off because then I'd lose my deep freeze. Yeah, it was a real thing. So anyways, that happened in the background. So we'll get that mopped up and get that finished. I've been checking my starvation ranches, and unfortunately my dupe still keeps coming in here. I can't lock anyone else out. So they keep coming in here, but it did get down to 6 cycles before death, and then it reset his death counter. His calories are still at 0, but he has produced eggs. This guy up here has already produced an egg, so this seems to be working. So to try to fix that problem of they just kept coming around and supplying the regolith, what I decided to do was just make this deep pit here of regolith, and I'm going to try to have it all just up here so that the dupes can't get to it. It's 4 tiles deep and the dupes cannot get to it. And I put an auto sweeper here to kind of use this regolith here if needed to supply this, so that our auto sweepers do all the work all over here. I said doo-doo. So that way we have no more like real dupe interaction over here, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. So that's kind of the plan for that. But again, there is tons and tons of regolith to put up there. So is it feasible? Is it going to happen? I mean, probably not in the next couple hundred cycles, to be honest with you. And I kind of was wanting to check in on this because we are still getting dirt asteroids. So I'm probably going to have to come up here and dig this out from time to time. I don't know. And slime, which is, it's turning to dirt because it's the slime turning to dirt because it's so hot. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like we're going to have to come up here from time to time and just, so I can use this slime for dirt. Oh, wait. Oh, but it has tons of slime lung germs, but it's getting irradiated. If the slime gets irradiated, does that? It does. That's very interesting. So there's no slime lung on this because it's being irradiated by space. The things you learn. Okay. Whew, man, big project done. This is going to take some time to cool off. I probably should have put 2 or 3 aqua tuners in here to try to help, get this temperature down. But the highest I ever saw it was 130 something. So, but this will just take some time, and we could be patient and let this happen. I mean, the temperatures in here have already gone down below the 200 mark that it was originally at. So yeah, I'm excited to get some things planted in here as we put so much work into it. If you're excited, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you can be alerted of any time any Oxygen Not Included or other content is uploaded on the page. Hit one of the buttons at the end of the screen so you can see some other things that we've been playing. And don't forget to keep gaming for the love of games. Bye now.